Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Stony Acres Gardening. If you want beautiful lettuce beds like this one that you're seeing here in this video, then this is the video for you. I'm going to teach you today how to have a beautiful lettuce bed like this one by starting your lettuce seedlings indoors. So I know a lot of you are going to be saying, but Rick, you can plant lettuce seeds directly in the garden, and that is 100% correct. But let me tell you a story about me, okay? I plant, and I always plant, every year I plant some lettuce directly in the garden. So I direct sow it out in the garden. My problem is I'm busy. I have 2 businesses that I'm running. I have family and grandkids and all this kind of stuff. And it seems like to me that I never make it out to my garden to thin my lettuce. And lettuce is really hard to direct sow because the seeds are so small. And so I end up planting them too closely, and then I end up with a bed that looks like this, which is fine. That lettuce is edible and very, very good, but I never, when I direct sow, I never get these big, beautiful heads of lettuce that I would really like to grow. And so a few years back, I started growing seedlings indoors, and I found that that is how I can nail those beautiful big heads of lettuce that are going to look nice, taste nice, and just be one head of lettuce. So I can cut that head off, take it in, wash it up, use it for a salad, and don't have to worry about, all of these little tiny leaves and everything like that. So we love the results that we get from planting lettuce indoors. And so that's why we do it, and that's what I'm going to teach you today, because it's actually pretty simple to grow lettuce indoors. Lettuce is one of the easiest plants to grow indoors. If you're a beginner and you're just getting started growing seedlings indoors, definitely I would recommend that you give lettuce a go, because it is pretty easy to grow. All right, so I've got 3 tips for you that we are going to kind of go through and talk about today with planting lettuce. And the first is to actually show you how to plant some lettuce. So what I've done is I already put together some seed starting mix for you. I've got it in my containers. I did my own seed starting mix this time. It's a mix of about 6 parts of cocoa coir, 1 part of perlite, and 1 part of homemade sifted compost is what I put together here. And so we mixed that all together, and then I added that to my containers. And we don't pack it in super tight. We don't want it packed in like, super compressed, but we go ahead and pack that in a little bit. And then I've got these 2 trays that are ready to go and ready to plant. And so the way I plant them, and is what we're going to plant today, this is a variety called Muir, one of our favorites. We like it because it is hardy for both the winter or early spring and in the summertime. So it's a really good variety. It doesn't bolt in the summer. It holds up well to the cold. And so it's early in the season, we're going to plant some of this today. So first off, you can see how small lettuce seeds are. They're quite small. I'm going to try, we've got 8 cells here. I'm going to try and get 2 seeds in each cell. I like to have 1 and a backup, and I'm going to show you why you want a backup here in just a minute. So we're going to go ahead and try and get 2 seeds in each one of these. Looks like I only got 1 in each of those. And then we're going to go here. 1, 2, 1. All right, there we go. Okay, so then all we need to do is just take a little bit of soil. We don't need very much, just 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to put that right on top of these seedlings, okay? And put that there. And we want to press it down just a little bit. Again, we're not packing this in, but we want to make sure that we get soil to seed contact with those. And then I like, even though this soil is pre-moistened, I still like to give them a good squirt. We want to make sure that those seeds get plenty moist here at the beginning of the process. So we're going to give them just a nice squirt. And then we are going to cover them with a little bit of plastic wrap. And for those of you that are worried about plastic wrap, you can reuse this a million times. I've been using this piece of plastic wrap for years and years, so it's not wasteful to use that. We're going to cover that up. That's going to keep the humidity up in the plants. These will germinate in about 4 days, and then you are off and running, and they will grow. You're going to grow them for about 6 to 8 weeks indoors. So let me now show you a progress report. So these are some winter density seedlings that we planted about 4 weeks ago. So these are 4 weeks old, and they're ready to have a little extra care. So first off, let me show you why I always plant 2, because sometimes you just don't get germination. If you notice in this container, all of these, both seeds came up, but in this particular cell, none of them came up, and so we don't have a seedling in here. And so is what we're going to do now. We have 2 in each, and we don't want these to grow together because we won't get that perfect, beautiful head. And so we're going to do what we call pricking out. So I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull these out. One nice thing about lettuce is you don't have to be super gentle with it. It's actually pretty easy to work with. You can see here the root structure is looking really nice. Again, these are about 4 weeks old, and we're going to, first off, we need to replace this one that didn't have anything come up. So we're going to take that out, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to gently pull these guys apart. And it looks like I've actually got 3 plants in here. That one is not looking very good, and it's so close together that I'm just going to eat that. But these 2 we're actually going to take, and we're just going to put those right in here, and we're going to backfill this in so that those plants have plenty of soil. And again, this process is called pricking out. And clean those up a little bit, and we are ready to go. Now it looks like I've got a couple more here that we need to do as well, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. We'll put those in this container, and then these should be ready to go out in the garden in another couple of weeks. So once you have pricked them out, if you even need to do that, sometimes you won't. If you're really proactive about it, you could do this earlier in the growing cycle, or you could just thin out one of those, whatever you want to do. But ultimately, we want to end up with 1 plant per cell, and we're going to give these about another 2 or 3 weeks indoors, and then they're going to go outside. So it's early in the season, so these will actually go outside in a cold frame. Later in the season, you can get them out directly in the garden. You do want to give them about 5 to 7 days of slow exposure. We call that hardening out into the garden. So you're going to take them out for a few hours the first day and a few more hours the next day, so that we kind of get them accustomed to being out in the garden. You'll do that about a week before you plant, and these guys will be ready to go out, and they are going to give you just a beautiful harvest. So a couple of other tips that I want to give you for planting. You'll notice I did not plant a lot of seedlings, okay? I only did 8, and I only have 8 here from this first planting. The reason why is because you don't want to overwhelm yourself with a whole bunch of lettuce that is ready to eat at the same time. So I like to plant what I figure we will eat in about 3 weeks' time. Okay, so that's for us usually about 8 plants. We usually eat 2 or 3 plants a week, and so 8 plants will usually last us about 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks, starting in January for us, we will start planting these seedlings indoors, and every 3 weeks we plant more, and then 3 weeks later we plant more, and 3 weeks later we plant more, so that we kind of just have this constant flow of seedlings that are going out in the garden. After they've been indoors for about 6 to 8 weeks, they'll go out in the garden, and then 4 to 6 weeks after you've planted them out into the garden, they are going to be ready to harvest. You're going to get these big, beautiful heads of lettuce that are just perfect and look great if you're putting it on Instagram, which I'm not fussed about, but whatever. They're going to look really nice, and they eat well. I like the fact that you have this just beautiful finished product when you are growing your own lettuce seedlings indoors. So that is how you are going to grow lettuce seedlings indoors. And we love to do this. It's a process that we've been doing now for probably about 10 years. It's almost the only way I grow lettuce. I end up throwing in a row or 2 of lettuce direct sown in the garden every year. Especially in the fall, I'll do that. But this is mostly how I do lettuce now, because I like that finished product. I like how it looks, and I like how easy it is to use. We can just go out and cut one head off, turn it into a salad, and away we go. So great way to grow your own lettuce indoors. All right, so before we go, I did have one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. we have been very frustrated with how expensive it is getting to buy your own seedlings. So a package of seedlings like this at a store is probably going to run you $4 or $5. So we're looking at over $1 per plant. And that's for lettuce. When we start talking about things like tomatoes or peppers, you're looking at more like $6 for one plant. And that's just ridiculous. It's getting too expensive to garden and buy transplants. So I want to teach you how to grow your own transplants. That's what this video is for, and that is our big focus in 2025, is making sure that you learn how to grow your own seedlings. And the way we're doing that is by offering a whole series of free workshops. So these workshops, we're trying to make them available to as many people as possible. So it's the same workshop. We're going to do it probably 6 times this season in 2025. We've already done several in January. We're going to do February and March as well. These are 1-hour workshops where I'm going to teach you the basics of growing your own seedlings so that you can get started growing those seedlings. And so it's a free workshop. We're going to be offering it on a private platform so that we don't have to worry about internet trolls and things like that. And I can kind of control it and make it a little bit nicer for you. And so those workshops will be hosted in February, March, still to come. If you're watching this in mid-January, there may still be one at the end of January as well. So in the description of this video is a list of all of the dates that we have planned for this year, and you can go click on the link and get signed up for these workshops. So go click on that and get signed up, and let me teach you how to grow your own seedlings. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you for this week. Get some lettuce planted. I love to plant lettuce this way. It's an easy way to make it happen, and it gives you a beautiful finished product. All right, everybody have a great week. Happy gardening.